Hello students, welcome back to the next session. Let us now continue with the rules. We had stopped with rule number 5 in the last session. Let us continue with the next rule, that is your view updating rule. So this rule suggests that all the views, whatever you do on the system, should be updatable. You have to make changes and say updatable. That is your rule number 6. The next is your rule number 7, that is high level of insert, update and delete. This is rule number 7. That is, the system should be able to add records, update the records, or delete the records. And these changes, that is either insert, update or delete, you should be able to perform on many rows records simultaneously. That is your rule number 7. Next, rule number 8, physical data independence. Physical data independence is the next rule. Now what do you mean by this physical data? We have already learned. So whatever the changes are there, application should not concern itself about how the data is stored physically. Where you are going to store, how you are going to store, that should not make a difference. So any changes in the physical structure will not have an impact on the application, and whatever you do on the application should not impact on the structure. That is what you mean by your physical data independence. Then next rule, that is your rule number 9, we have your logical data independence. Logical data independence. Now what do you mean by this logical data independence? Logical data independence means whatever the data logically, the records that you give, you should be able to make changes. If you are going to make changes, that should not make any changes in the application that is using it. So logical data must not imply any changes in the application that is being used. That is what you mean by your logical data independence. Next, rule number 10. Integrity independence. Integrity independence means there are certain conditions, primary key, secondary key, candidate key, which will come to know later in the next part. So all these primary keys can be independent. You can make any changes to the conditions without it changing other parts, anything else. Make changes to the special conditions, constraints that you want to, without it being applied to any other parts of the record or database. This rules makes it the database independent from the front-end application. Rule number 11. Distribution independence. Here what happens is, when you are going to send a part of the data, distribution, we are saying distributing, that is you are giving out. So when you are giving out, it may be the whole database, or you may be giving only a few records of the database, only few files from the database. So whatever you are going to do, if a part of the database is given to others, the rest, whatever internal action takes place, it should not be visible to the users of the database. That is, it should be invisible. They should not be able to know what is happening inside. That is what you mean by your distribution independence. Next is your rule number 12 is non-subversion rule. That is, if the system gives a low level of interface, that is only a few records at a time, then that cannot be used to say that this system is not working properly, it is not proper. You cannot do that. So relational integrity, relational security, or whatever the conditions that you are going to say, you cannot say it is not working properly. It may happen. So if the system provides a low level, that is like records that is given at a time, if it is very slow or low, then you cannot challenge the system. So these are the rules that are present or given by Codd, Edgar Codd. And if among these 13 rules that you have, if any of the 6 rules is satisfied, then that database can be considered as an RDBMS, that is relational database system. Any 6 rules is satisfied. It can be more than 6 also, but if 6 rules is satisfied, then that is known as your relational database management system. Now let us go to the next part, that is your types of keys. We were talking about the conditions here, right? So we said about primary key. So this is what you are going to learn here in types of keys. That is, keys means that is a condition or a name that you are going to give to the column in the database table. Now for example, you have a student database. You have your register number, the name, the address, phone number, any such data. Okay, so here how are you going to identify each and every record in the table uniquely, that is separately? Two people may have a same name. Okay, two of them may have a same name. So but this person is different and this person is different. How are you going to identify? So this all for to identification, for separation purpose, all this we are going to give a key for the table. So these keys can be used to identify the records in the database table. And you can also avoid duplicate records, and you can access the data faster because of all these keys. So what are the different keys that we are going to use in the DBMS system? First, we say a candidate key. What is a candidate key? Candidate key means it is a set of functions, okay, that identifies. We say you use the word unique, that is no one else is of such type. Only one person is of such a type. Unique, no duplicate. So uniquely identifies a row. That is, a key which is eligible to become the primary key is called a candidate key. You are supposed to remember the definitions for this. Please keep in mind, a candidate key means it is a key which is eligible to become the primary key. This key is known as your candidate key. Now for example, in your student number, you have your serial number, roll number is maybe different, register number maybe different, name, combination, all have got different headings for the table, right? All these can be the candidate keys. If you have a roll number, okay, that can be the main key. If you do not have the roll number, then the name of the student can be a main key. If you do not have the name, then the combination can be the key. So based on this, all these are known as your candidates. ಒಂದು ಎಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ಗೆ ಒಬ್ರು ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಒಬ್ರು ಗೆಲ್ಲಬೇಕು, ಆದ್ರೆ ಗೆಲ್ಲಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸುಮಾರು ಜನ ಕ್ಯಾಂಡಿಡೇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾವು ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸಬಹುದು, ಹೌದಲ್ಲ? ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಅರ್ಹರು. Anyone can win the election, but all those are known as they are not the winners, they are known as the candidates, right? In the same way, anybody who can win or anybody who can be the primary key is known as your candidate key. And next, primary key. What do you mean by primary key? Primary key means again out of this candidate key you select one that becomes the primary key. So a column that identifies each row of a table uniquely is called a primary key. This is an important 1-mark question also. What is a primary key? So a column that identifies each row of a table uniquely is called a primary key. It should not be empty. It should always have some values within that. So every relation or a table must contain a primary key. When you have multiple columns that can be used as a primary key, then such keys are called as composite keys. When multiple columns are used as a primary key, such keys are called composite key. That is, for example, as we said, if you remember, we had talked about the candidate key. Any one can be the primary key. Each and every record identifies the table separately, uniquely. No one can be different. So this primary key is the one that uniquely identifies the records in the table. Now, the next part. For example, go for the example for your primary key. You have in the student database the register number, name, right? Now, register number, name can be the same for any two students. Or do we have any? Okay, now we have two students in our class, okay, with the same name. Initials are different, yes, but just imagine both of them have got the same initials also. Then how will you differentiate between these two people? By the register numbers. So whatever the register number you give for this person is different to the register number that you give to this person. So each and every student has got a different register number. No one's register number is the same. So that is what you call it as a unique. And so register number will be your primary key in the table. That is what you mean by your primary key. Next is your super key. So when you are saying one or more than one column uniquely identifies each table tuple, that is a record in a relation, then you call that as a primary or prime key or the super key. As we said, if you have, okay, just give the definition for this first. One or more than one column that uniquely identifies each tuple in a relation is known as a super key. Now, for example, if you remember, you have one roll number in the college, right? But again, you have one another number which you wrote for your examination, that is your student number. This is also separate for each and every student, unique. No one's remains the same, and even the student number is also separate for each and every student. It is not the same. So the roll number can also be considered as a primary key, and the student number also can be considered as a primary key. So such keys are known. So one or more column uniquely identifies the record, then we call it as a super key. Next is your foreign key. Foreign key means it's a set of columns that appears in one table as a non-key attribute. It is not allotted either as a primary key or a super key or a candidate key. But in another table, this column acts as a primary key, then that is known as your foreign key. Now, for example, imagine you have one, okay, we'll go for the employee database. We'll go for the employee database. You have two tables. One is your employee table and the other is your department table. This is a vast institution, organization. So we say, now when under your employees, you have the employee code, you'll have the name of the employee, you have your department ID of the employee, you have the salary of the employee. These are the different column names, field names that you have. Under the department, which department do they belong to? What is the name of the department? What is the address of that employee? All those details will be stored in this. Just imagine this. Now, here the code is the primary key in this. Code will be the primary key, or name can also be the primary key. Code is the primary key, but department ID is not the primary key. Okay, just a normal column that you have. But when you are going for your department, department ID will become the primary key. Okay, it is present here also and here also. So this is a non-key. It is not neither a primary key nor a secondary key nor a candidate key. But in this table, it is a primary key which is present in both. But one, it is a non-key. Here it is a primary key. Here it is a non-key attribute, and here it is a primary key. Then such keys are known as your foreign keys. And the next is your alternate key. Now, what do you mean by alternate key? We said already there are many candidate keys, right? So the candidate key which is not considered as a primary key currently at present is known as your alternate key. It can also be called as a secondary key. Now, the definition: the candidate key which is not considered as primary key currently is known as your alternate key. We can also call it as your secondary key. Okay, these are the different types of keys that you have in your database. Let us end this session now. Thank you.